All right. So, good morning and welcome. We're going to start off here with the definition of clair obscur. In French terms, it translates to light to dark. In English, a French term that translates to light to dark in English. In the context of art, it refers to a technique known as, I'm not even going to try because I'm sure I'm going to pronounce that wrong, in Italian, where strong contrasts between light and shadows are used to create a sense of volume, depth, and three dimensionality in painting or drawing. Starting with the actual name of Clair Obscur Expedition 33, the name alone has a double, almost triple entendre, like alone, because the light to dark, the painting strokes alone is obviously a reference to. And before I get any further in, I am going to say right now, huge spoiler warning for Expedition 33. This entire video is breaking down the endings and what they mean, or what I feel like they mean in a greater context of everything. I've been really just wanting to talk about it, so I wanted to make this video to like get all my thoughts like out there. I haven't wrote any thoughts down. I finished the game, I want to say like 2 or 3 days ago. I've been letting it sit and stir and everything, and I've been really like thinking about it hard and everything. And I watched both endings. And I gotta say, like, both endings are not, there is no good ending and bad ending. Like, and I already know a lot of people believe that Mael's ending is actually, the funniest part about it is I've seen actually both. I've seen a lot of people say Mael's ending is the bad ending, and I've seen a lot of people say Burso's ending is the bad ending, which is exactly why I'm saying that it feels like there is no actual choice here. It feels like you're not getting a good choice or a bad choice. You're having to make an actual choice. There is a give in both options, and there is both a good and bad. Both endings are very bittersweet. One's a lot more bitter than sweet, but the other one is very bittersweet as well. Um, and so we're gonna get into it. Like I said, the very beginning of the game, the title of the game has, like I said, three separate meanings. It could be talking about the actual fact that the characters themselves are living in a painting and the brushstrokes itself that were used to create that painting. Again, almost in the same term, how the painting itself is three dimensional and almost reality like, is the clear obscure between the light and the shadow that create that three dimensionality and make it feel like it's reality and not just a painting. And then third, it's the light and dark between the contrast of what art can do for us and what art can do to us. Art, especially in the context of the game, art is being used for escapism for a grieving family. And art can both bring you that escapism that can like take you away from a bad day, like you had a bad day at work, or like you fucking failed at school, or like fucking your girlfriend broke up with you, like not a like long term but like a short term girlfriend relationship and everything like that, like nothing that's going to like be world shattering or whatnot, but it just takes you out of reality for a little bit, lets you forget about it. You just fucking insert yourself back in, and then you go about your day. It was nice to get away for a little bit, but now you got to come back. Also, art can do the exact opposite. Instead of just let you escape for, well, not the exact opposite, I guess I should say. Instead of letting you escape for a little bit, it can let you escape from your reality forever in games like World of Warcraft, MMOs, and there are also like single player games that like just eat away at people's lives and they just do not want to come back to reality. And that is exactly what the game tackles in its final choice. The difference between whether you should stay in the world and essentially escape and live in the world and be free and be happy where you're at, but in the same time, it's not actually real. And the fact that it's not actually real means that it shouldn't be substantial anything you do in there, but at the same time, if you're living a happy existence, how is that any different than living the reality that you were outside? Well, the real difference is that her family is supposed to be real people and it could possibly hurt them as well. And that's what the game tackles. It almost tackles that part, but it is more. How do I put this? This is what I was trying to get at. Anyone who knows my videos, they're scuffed. I never come in with any points. I always jump around, and it's very hectic because of that. I'm actually going to move the screen over here. It's gonna be a little fucky for a minute. Move the screen over here real quick. Oh, yep, you guys are gonna see a major lag. I'm sorry. Oh, well, is it not going to let me update it? That's fucking beautiful. If I upload this, I might try to cut this part out. Why? There, thank you. Okay, yeah, sorry about that. I'm going to turn that down, and I'm going to leave a link in the description of the video to this guy's page. I, unfortunately, didn't feel like getting my own recording up, so we're going to just have his video playing in the background while I talk about it a little bit and everything else like that. Also give me a little bit of a fresh course and everything. So in Verso's ending, he gives up 100%. The painting is dispersed. Mael goes back into the real world. Her family grieves over her brother's loss, and he's finally able to rest. It's implied that they destroy the canvas, which is very, very like upsetting to me. I feel like not because the characters and everything are gone, but mostly because like I've lost people before in the past, and like having like one memento or memory of them is always a nice comfort and feeling to like be able to always look at and remember them. But I've never had a memento literally almost try to eat me alive. So at that same breath, like I've never had like a brother's save file in Animal Crossing who's died or something like that I just went and lost myself in or something like that, because that's essentially what this is. This is an old world that both the characters, Mael and Verso, unfortunately, is Mael's brother who died in a fire. I'm going to give like a quick recap right now. And this entire world is a painting that he originally painted with her as a child that they played in together. And he even had a little part of his soul, because it's implied that in order to make these paintings, you have to put a little piece of yourself into it, which is all kinds of fucking like symbolic of how actual art works. Whenever you make an actual piece of art, you always have to put a little bit of yourself into it. And it'd be like, so they made this world and everything. Verso died in a fire, and then his mom went into the painting to essentially live an entire life with him, because she's able to manipulate the painting and paint an entire version of her family in there and give them immortality and let them live forever, essentially. But the longer that someone from the real world stays in the painting, the more that they actually lose themselves and start to die, and everything in between. And the whole reason I wanted to make this video was really honestly so I could point out the contrast between what art can do for us when you're grieving. It can either consume us like it does with Mael. It quite literally, like you see at the end here, it consumes her. Or we can use it as a little bit of escapism to help us grow and help us get that little bit of extra catharsis that we needed to move on and actually live a healthy life. That's the main reason I wanted to make this video. I also wanted to make this video because I wanted to highlight how interesting this choice is, not from an actual world view standpoint, because the world view Versa's right. There's no way like you can say any way, shape, or form otherwise. Like Verso is 100% right. She should let him die. He should be able to rest. She should go back to reality. She should deal with the real world. She should like deal with her grieving in a healthy manner and not try to escape from it and not try to be someone she's not. Those are all very, very unhealthy things that escapism can bring to people, and it happens in everyday real life. I have a couple of actual real life examples myself. I'm not going to get into them here. Um, oh shit, you guys are gonna unfortunately have to see an ad. Like I said, most scuffed broadcast in history. Um, but from a player perspective, not from an actual world perspective, the choice that's presented is super interesting because essentially you start off from this game, you are presented with the characters Gustav, um, Loon, and Cecil, as well as Minoko, Eske. You're given all these characters, and before you're even introduced to Verso, and well, you are introduced to Renoir, but you don't understand what his deal is. You don't understand that Mael's actually a real person. You don't actually know that all of this is fake in the first part. The whole first and second act, you believe all of this is real, and you're doing all of this to save these people. And yes, you do realize that all of this is fake, but it still doesn't change the fact how it was presented in the first place. It still doesn't change the fact that these people have lives, they have dreams, they have hopes, they have wants. They literally have been giving up their lives one after another so that the ones after them could survive. Literally, Gustav's whole thing is for those who come after. He creates the luminous converter that actually is able to take the chroma that the painting is made out of and convert it into actual energy and use it to topple the gods that created them. Well, he doesn't use it, but you're able to use it to topple the gods that actually created them. So, like, these people, while not being real, definitely have sentience and definitely are more than just like, I would say like a video, like they are video game characters, obviously, but I would say they like in the context of the world, I would say instead of being like AI, it would be like if I was able to create a wooden doll and like make it dance around, you know? Or I guess video game character is the closest thing we actually have. And while I say that, it's just weird because like this isn't that at the same time. Like I can create a video game character, but I can't create a video game character that can have children, have children's children, and pass those hopes and dreams on. I mean, I guess I could, but like what I'm getting at is not every single piece of code that's created is going to do that. It feels like every single piece that's created in these paintings do that. Like even down to the Nevrons that fight you, they have their own hopes and dreams. You find out that the ones that aren't just mindless killing machines. The white ones actually want to, like, they have wants, they have hopes, they feel, they actually are people, but they're not. They're not real at the same time. It would be essentially if God stepped down here and decided he wanted to be lost in our world for a little bit. And to him, all of this is a fabrication that he made. But to us, this is everything. This is where I was born. This is where my kids will be born. This is where my father was born, you know? So having the choice to either erase that entire world or leave it intact and keep it how it is extremely, extremely enticing because the entirety of the game, you have been set out to save all of these people, even though they're not real. the entire point. You started this adventure to save everyone. But now that you know they're not technically real, does that invalidate that in first set out? Like, when you first set out on that goal, is it now invalidated because all of them are not real? Technically, it should be, but me as a player, I don't feel that. And I feel like that's where this choice really like hits home. Because while I might get everything I wanted and I hit my goal, I saved all of the fucking painting, everybody's in there and everything, I destroyed a real family to do it. Verso is trapped. It's implied that he's trapped in a chronological loop. Mael's letting him get old and then be reborn as a child and then re-raising him. Mael stuck in the painting is going to die forever. Through the implications of Renoir being upset and everything at the end and saying how he can't lose another child or another person to the painting and everything like that, it's implied that that whole family probably fell apart and everything else in between. So you destroyed a real family that was already falling apart in order to save a fake reality, but the reality that might have been fake was not fake to the people in that reality. And I know that's a very, very broad concept, but like I said, these are more than just like video game, like obviously they're just video game characters in our world, but like in the context of the painting in their world, they're more than just video game characters. They actually live, breathe, want, have hopes, dreams, and like will do more than an average video game character will do. It's like a really, really convincing AI, like a super fucking convincing AI. But like I was getting at, us as the player will want that ending, but the right thing to do will always be to destroy that escapism and let the family survive because they are technically what's real in this context. But at the same time, like I said, the painting people are, while they're not real, they still kind of are. So who are we to actually say that like they don't deserve to exist? And plus, on top of which, it's super bittersweet. Like, and this is why I said that this ending is also bittersweet. Like, everything I worked for was for nothing at this point. I might as well have just let the paintress do what she did. I might as well have just let her get to zero and let Renoir destroy the entire canvas. Yes, I got the catharsis of understanding what's going on. But if I really wanted this ending, the one that you're seeing on screen, I would have just let it all happen, not play the game. It's going to happen no matter what. That ending that you're seeing on screen is going to happen. It does not matter. Like, if you don't play the game, that ending will happen every time. The only issue is the mom might not survive the last 33 years. That is the only difference between the two. Now, if you do play the game all the way through, god damn it, another ad. Yeah, he's going to build you an e-commerce store. But, like I said, achieving that ending means that you have to literally rip this real life family to shreds, essentially. So now you have an actual dilemma for the player. And it's not like a choice between, oh man, what's the right choice, you know? Or I guess it is a little bit. It is a little bit because like you should feel for these characters to the point that you want them to have a good ending. You should want Mael here and Renoir and their mom and her sister to all be happy. You actually should want that. And I did. I genuinely did. Like I said, Verso's 100% right. And that's the ending I chose because it was clear as day that like that was actually the right thing to do. But it was so hard for me to actually choose. And because, like I said, everything I worked for in this game was for the other ending, was for everyone to come back and live happily and have their lives. And like for Gustav to give his journal to his apprentices and for fucking Mael to like live her life there and actually live past 16 and like have more years, and for like Cecil's husband to come back and everything else like that. Like those were all goals I had all the way up until the end of the second act. So now, me as a player, I am super, super like, what's the word? Man, I'm sorry. I can't choose. It was hard for me to choose. It was actually one of the hardest choices I've ever experienced in gaming. Because on this side, my entire journey reward should be right here. But I feel obligated to go over here. I feel not only obligated, I feel morally like I feel like if I don't do this choice over here, this choice over here isn't gonna matter in the long run. Because all the world was supposed to be for Verso also. Because like the implications that Verso is stuck in a never-ending time loop with his sister keeping him alive for her own selfish grieving sense is disturbing and horrifying on so many levels. But like I said, I feel like I'm obligated to choose this ending because this is where my entire journey has led up to. This was my goal. This is what I wanted. But this is what's right. And that's insane. That's insane that a game was able to make me actually choose between the two. Because I don't know. There could be another game out there that has a better choice like that. But I have not experienced it personally. I have never gotten to a point in a game where I sat down and actually was like, what the fuck do I do? Like, actually, what the fuck do I do? Like, I could always reload my save and everything like that and just go back and play it all again. But that's not what I wanted. I wanted the ending that my playthrough was going to get. I wanted to know where my characters were going to end up, because that doesn't matter. Like, that matters to me more than like anyone else's playthrough or any other endings. I always like where my first playthrough ended up. You can blame Undertale for that. But yeah, it's just insane that a game was able to do that. And I am sorry I wasn't actually able to let both endings fully play out. Skip ahead a little bit in this one. But like I said, it is still insane to me that a game was able to do that and make me actually sit down and think about what I was doing, where I was going, where I actually wanted these characters to end up at the end of the day, and if it was actually worth it for those characters to end up in that position. Is it actually worth for Verso to die? Like, would it be better to never have the canvas at all? Because I didn't know if like maybe Mael's ending was like the super happy ending when I like chose it. For all I know, fucking Mael painted everyone back into existence, and then she like I had like an end game, maybe 3 or 4 bosses, and then there was a heartfelt goodbye as she left the painting. That's not what we got, but I'm so glad that's not what we got, because then like I wouldn't be making this video. But like I said, in that moment, I didn't know. I didn't know if I was fucking up or if I was making the right choice. In my mind, though, I knew I was making the right choice for the characters that were real in this context. And also, as someone who has dealt with grief in the past, I understand how easy it is to lose yourself in something like a video game or a book or a TV series, or just like something in general that just helps you get away from it all. Especially like when every single part, especially when every single part of your existence rings hollow to the fact that that person is no longer there. Having something to lean back on and actually remind you of that person and even give you a little taste of them still being there is intoxicating. And it's intoxicating to the fact that, yes, you can lose your entire self. And the thing that happened to Mael in this game can happen to people in real life. People can experience grief and then lose themselves to it. Doesn't even necessarily have to be a video game. Normally it's drugs and alcohol. Normally they just you get stuck in this pit, this frame of mind, and you just you think there's no way out. The only way you're happy again is if you get that little taste, that little bliss again. And it's sorry to say that's not how life works. You will lose yourself. You will die. You will cease to be here. Even if you are still here on a personal level, you will lose yourself. You will stop being the person you originally were. Grief and escapism will consume you, but it is also necessary in the process because without it, you lose yourself entirely. Like, escapism is necessary for the catharsis to help the grieving process, but losing yourself in that escapism to that catharsis is a disaster and a recipe for horror, like it is in this context of the game. And that is where the actual name of the game, like I said, has a double entendre and is the entire theme of the game, to the point that they put it multiple times in like multiple songs. The light to dark, the light that escapism can bring and the darkness it can eventually become, the contrast between the two. And it's insane to me that they were able to pull this off in a 60-hour video game. And I say 60 hours because I got to level 80. I beat all the bosses. The only one I have left to do is Simon. I'm going to do it also. Like, I've beaten literally every single other one. Fucking, I love this game. This is an actual 10 out of 10. Like, 9.5 only because of the platforming. The platforming fucking sucks. Guys, fuck, I forgot what the studio was called that made it, but you guys need to fix that. Like, seriously. I did the Gestural Ultimate Challenge, finished it. It was literally the worst 4 hours of my life. But like I was getting at, the contrast of light to darkness and grief and escapism, the fact that a video game that I'm sure on some level someone was using to escape from their shitty ass life was able to hit that resonant nail on the head. And I'm sure it caused at least 1 to 2 people to put this game down, step back, and actually start fixing themselves. Like, I do 100% believe that, because it not only puts on display the horror that can be caused through escapism, like right there, but it also shows the beauty that can come from embracing reality and not losing yourself to that grief. But so I think I padded that out pretty well and got all my points across and everything. Was able to actually like get the video to play the rest of the way across, especially with the hauntingness of the fucking Mael's ending and everything else like that. Essentially, the whole that's all, guys. Like, I can't believe a video game was able to make me feel this way and actually make me sit down and think this way. And the fact that they were able to do it in the context of what video games and art do for you, on top of how grief makes not only that escapism necessary, but also makes it dangerous, is fascinating. And it just, oh my God, like, it's got so many fucking contextual levels for art. It's just actually wild. Like, this is, I want to say, like, I don't want to say like the actual pinnacle of art, but like, it's definitely the pinnacle of video game art. Like, it's going to be hard to beat this one, guys. But anyways,